Welcome. Today I will be talking about the individual change and in particular the behavioral approach. When someone is dealing with change management, we have to take into consideration three aspects of change. The change that takes place at the individual level, the change that takes place at team level, and the change that takes place at organizational level. It is very important for those people who are involved in change management to be aware of the mechanism that are going to promote change at individual, team, and organizational level. Lots of managers tend to get very frustrated because people don't change. It seems like they are dragging their feet. It seems like they are digging their heels. How come that they don't understand how important it is to go from point A to point B? Well, it's extremely important to understand the psychological cycles that individuals, teams, and organizations have to go through in order to achieve change. In this video specifically, I will be talking about the behavioral approach. The behavioral approach is probably the simple one and is based on the principle that it's possible to change an individual's behavior with a system of reward and punishment. Basically, it is the carrot and stick approach. So what does that mean? It means that basically the organization is going to reward a specific behavior whilst it is going to punish a behavior that is not desired or expected. So let's make the example of a company that has got a very high level of complaints within the customer service. And basically the attitude displayed by most of the employees is, well, who cares, don't take the phone, don't pick up the phone. They basically are very rude with the clients when they contact them to complaints, with the result that quite a few customers decided to jump ship and go basically to the competitors. What can you do in order to promote a different behavior? So, for example, you want them to pick up the phone all the time, so for example, within 5 rings. You want them to be polite and understanding with your customers. Well, a very simple way of doing that is to use the carrot and stick approach. So basically, you are going to reward those employees who are complying with the new behavior. So, for example, they are picking up the phone within 5 rings and they are going to be polite with the customers. And actually, you are going to punish those who are still displaying the old behavior. This is a very simplistic way of the behavioral approach, and it's based on the classical conditioning that was discovered by Ivan Pavlov and the Pavlovian dogs. Basically, he discovered that dogs were salivating when, for example, he showed them food. And he then realized that they were salivating even if the food was not there, because they actually learned that when Pavlov was carrying out specific activities, usually the food arrived. So even if the food was not there, by actually carrying out a certain kind of activities, the dogs were salivating. So it's based on a conditioning, knowing that if there are some circumstances in place, a certain kind of condition, a certain kind of consequences will materialize. So it's basically carrot and stick. But how are we going to actually reward or punish the individuals? Well, fundamentally, there are two different options. The first one, which is the most used, is actually giving a financial reward to individuals that are going to behave in a certain way. So, for example, in the case of the customer care issue, the employees that are going to, for example, reach a specific target of a decrease of customer complaints of by 20%, they will receive a bonus, they will receive a salary increase at the end of a specified period. So basically, the message is if you behave in a certain way, you will get money. Very simple. The most important thing in this case is actually to link the financial the reinforcement to the behavior that the company requires. So it's very important that only those employees who achieve the results because of the new expected behavior are going to be rewarded. If you reward everyone, notwithstanding, for example, some employee decide to display the old behavior, well, actually you will not reach the message that is linked to the change. So always link the financial reward to a specific behavior, so that basically the employee will learn that if I behave in a certain way, the reward would be bonuses, salary increases, so basically would be more money. Another way of reinforcing the desired behavior is actually also by non-financial rewards. Non-financial rewards are also very powerful. For example, it can be positive feedback, it can be praise. Praise can be one-to-one, also it can be in public, and it can also be by recognition. So for example, the employee of the month, or the best employee of the year. So these are all forms of reinforcement. So the best option is always to mix financial reward and non-financial reward. When designing change that is based on the behavioral approach, it's very important to take into consideration one of the most powerful forms of non-financial reward, and it is the form of social reinforcement. So basically it is the peer pressure. It's very powerful because people want to belong. Actually, they want to be part of a certain tribe, of a certain group. Therefore, if you get the majority of a team to behave in a certain way, so for example, to change their attitude and to answer the phone within 5 rings and to treat the customers with respect and compassion, those who will not comply with this kind of new behavior and attitude will be actually not ostracized, because it's not what you want. You don't want actually to get into a bullying or harassment. Actually, they will have significant legal repercussion, but basically their behavior will be disapproved by their peers. As we said, people want to be approved. People want to be part of the group. So when designing this mix of financial reward and non-financial reward, always take into consideration the importance of peer pressure and how you can use that to your own advantage. What are the pros and the cons of the carrot and stick approach? Well, the pros are definitely the fact that it's very, very easy to design and implement. It doesn't take them much. Basically, it's what do you want to achieve and how are you going to reward people that are going to achieve in a certain way. Also, managers do not require particular skills to apply the carrot and stick approach. Again, you behave like A, you get basically a positive reinforcement. You don't behave like A, you behave like B. We don't want the B, you are going to get punished. Simple as that. However, the cons of the behavioral approach is that it does not take into consideration the reason, the motivations that guide an individual to change. And by itself, paying someone to make them behave in a certain way is not particularly satisfying, also because it can easily degenerate in a culture of based on greed. So even, for example, if I am behaving in an illegal way, as you want, as you will pay me a certain amount of money, basically I want to do it. So it's fundamentally what happened with not everyone, but some of the people that were involved, for example, in the Libor scandal. I will receive a lot of money, and basically the behavior that is rewarded is massage the index, because everyone is doing it. So peer pressure, if you don't do it and basically you blow the whistle, basically you are the bad guy. Also, the carrot and stick approach can degenerate in an environment of fear. Managers sometimes tend to be a little bit egocentric and actually think that they know better than anyone else, and basically they can use the stick far too much and actually lead to a genuine environment where terror and unhappiness is the norm, and of course is not what you want. This is actually only one of the approaches that are linked to individual change. In my next few videos, I will be talking about the other approaches that are at the basis of individual change, team change, and also organizational change. Thank you so much for watching.